Assassin's Creed 2 has emerged from the shadows and hit store shelves. While some gamers are reluctant to try the second entry to the Templar slaying series because of the original's repetitive nature, others have been waiting with bated breath to see the next chapter in the survival of the Assassin lineage. Has Ubisoft improved on the semi-flawed design of the original Assassin's Creed, or does it suffer from sophomore jinx? Set in late 15th century Italy, players control Ezio di Firenze through most of the adventure in Assassin's Creed 2. Ezio is a ladies' man, an experienced climber, and unfortunately, much more vocal than his ancestor Altair. After witnessing the framing and execution of his father and brothers, Ezio escapes with his mother and sister to the Italian countryside, where they set up base and seek vengeance against those who have wronged the Firenze name. Each man Ezio kills seems to add 2 more names to his list of those who need to die. As men continually fall one after another under Ezio's blades, the story quickly unfolds into a much larger conspiracy that intertwines through decades of history, dating back to the times of Altair in the original Assassin's Creed, up to modern-day events. To help him along his way, Ezio regularly consults with Leonardo da Vinci, who decodes messages and upgrades Ezio's hidden weapons. Basically, he's a 15th century Q branch. The story takes place in a linear fashion across 4 very large open areas: Rome, Venice, Florence, and the Tuscan countryside. While most gamers could burn through the missions in about 20 hours or less, the true beauty of Assassin's Creed 2 lies in everything outside of the main mission structure. To reveal more of each map, players can climb towers once again. Tower climbing is a bit harder this time around since most of the larger buildings cannot be climbed straight up on one side. Ezio will need to do some serpentining around on the sides of the buildings. The areas themselves have been greatly expanded compared to the original Assassin's Creed. Instead of missions taking place solely within the confines of city walls, many of Ezio's adventures will take him to the villages outside. All of the game's varied vistas are breathtaking, making it easily one of the best-looking sandbox adventures to hit consoles. Pickpocketing missions are gone, but unfortunately the races are back, but without the flags. Luckily, these missions oftentimes aren't necessary to finish the storyline. However, fans of the now famous Assassin's Creed parkour will be happy to see that the routes are much harder this time around. A very happy addition to the side quests are the Assassination Missions, where players are given contracts from one of the many pigeon coops on rooftops. Gamers then need to identify their target using Eagle Vision, now an absolute necessity, and then take them out while remaining unnoticed. There are also 6 hidden assassin tombs scattered throughout Italy. If players manage to find them and consequently solve the parkour puzzles inside each tomb, they are then given a key to unlock the 6 locks that guard the now ancient armor of Altair. But that's not all. Just a quick reveal of any of the city maps shows how much can be done within Assassin's Creed 2. It is truly a trophy hunter's dream come true. Social blending has been drastically improved upon. Now whenever players stand within a group of 3 people or more, Ezio blends into the crowd. Gamers can also hire groups of courtesans to distract groups of guards, which is a nice touch. Depending on how bad, or in some cases how badass you are, your notoriety level in certain areas can increase, and guards will begin attacking you on sight, making traveling from point A to point B a chore. To decrease your notoriety, Ezio can tear down wanted posters, kill corrupt local officials, or bribe his way back into social acceptance. Assassin's Creed 2 is not without its flaws, however. While stealing was more of a stealth skill in the original, in AC2 players need only walk into a crowd, hold down one button, and Ezio will pinch the pockets of everyone around him. It's a little silly. The story starts off a little slower than we'd normally like. Players will spend a few hours as Ezio before he actually follows the path of the assassin. While the backstory might add a small amount of depth to the character of Ezio, most gamers won't care. Gamers already know who he is and what they want him to be. A trained killer with 2 hidden blades and a sweet red and white cloak. Otherwise, the story is phenomenal. It takes the story of the original Assassin's Creed and busts it wide open. Assassin's Creed 2 also suffers from one of the major flaws that the original had. The combat is simply not threatening enough. Players are able to counter enemy moves right from the start of the game. Most enemies can no longer be slain by a single counter-kill move with standard weapons in the later part of the game, but counters with your hidden blades will drop even the largest of threats. The combat is very cinematic if played correctly, but there's still no urgency to run and hide because large groups of heavily armed men stand no chance against you. And there is little need to hide unless you're on a specific mission that calls for you to remain undetected. While the combat may look fantastic, and it might be slightly more challenging, it didn't get the drastic overhaul that many people were calling for. The HUD can also be slightly problematic, as it takes up some major screen real estate space. Luckily, gamers can turn off portions of the HUD to their liking. Since we weren't afraid of dying in combat, we turned off most of the information on the top part of our screen, like the health bar. Finally, some of the character models are a little wonky. Though we won't show them here for spoilers' sake, the characters in the frame story are the worst offenders. Kristen Bell's character is particularly bad. She looks like she's been pieced together like a potato head. These complaints might seem major, even the slightly less flawed combat, but none of them are game breakers. The voice acting is more than adequate, though many of the voice actors from the original Assassin's Creed have been recycled into 15th century Italians. If you keep your ears open, you'll hear almost everyone's voices again, but with different faces. The voice of Leonardo da Vinci, for example, is the same as one of the Assassin's local city leaders. When everything is put together, the game flows like a well-oiled machine. Assassin's Creed 2 is a triumph. While some feel it represents what the original should have been, we feel Assassin's Creed 2 is everything that all sequels should be. It takes almost every idea that was great about the original and expands on it to a jaw-dropping degree. Players who finish the game and witness the mysteries that Assassin's Creed 2 opens will be screaming for more, and it'll be very hard to top this entry to the series.
Francesco?